This high schooler's teachers told him to cut his dreads, but Ellen's response left him floored. Teenager DeAndre Arnold hit the headlines in January 2020 after his high school suspended him. The decision came when he refused to trim his dreadlocks as the school believed he was violating their dress code. Following that, DeAndre went on to appear on The Ellen Show, where he received an even bigger shock. DeAndre's world was turned upside down when the dress code was altered following the winter break. Due to revision of policy, he was required to cut his dreadlocks or face suspension from the school. The senior student subsequently refused, leading to his appearance on The Ellen Show in January 2020. As DeAndre's tale began generating media interest, he received a surprising message. It appears that Ellen DeGeneres had caught sight of the story and felt compelled to get in contact with the teenager. DeGeneres offered DeAndre a spot on her talk show to discuss everything that happened. However, nobody could have predicted what transpired after DeAndre accepted the invite. Much like previous guests, he sat down with DeGeneres on stage in front of the studio audience. However, this wasn't to be a standard interview, as the host made clear from the outset from her manner. As the interview begins, DeGeneres puts DeAndre at ease, understanding that this is an unusual situation. At this point, the pair discuss the broad strokes of the story, with the teenager bringing up the school's dress code. Following this, he's asked if the female pupils have to abide by the same rules regarding hair. DeAndre responds, "There's plenty of girls with long hair at my school. Like, if girls can't have long hair, why can't I?" This draws a round of applause from the studio audience, while DeGeneres agrees. "I just personally think you should be able to wear your hair however you want," she says, "especially if there's girls with long hair." After this exchange, DeGeneres then encourages DeAndre to talk about the cultural significance behind his dreadlocks. The teenager brings up his family's past in Trinidad before raising a very powerful point. Indeed, the Mont Belvieu resident directs a stinging message to his high school, which leads to another ovation from the crowd. DeAndre explains, "My hair is really important to me because my dad is from Trinidad. And it's part of our culture and our heritage. I really wish that the school would be open to other cultures and just let us tell them some things. Don't just shut us out." As the resulting round of applause dies down, DeGeneres makes an observation of her own. The host says, "Yeah, I think that's what school's supposed to do, is teach you about other cultures. You're not supposed to teach them. They're supposed to teach you." At this point, the pair then discuss the ultimatum. After DeAndre brings up his choices, DeGeneres asks him what alternative school is. He explains, "Alternative school is where all the kids that have behavioral issues, sell drugs, fight all the time are sent." With this in mind, the teenager raises an eloquent point on the matter before going to discuss his graduation. DeAndre continues, "I wish the best for those kids, and I know they have good qualities in them, but I don't deserve to be grouped with them. I've worked to graduate high school all my life. I've strived for this. I deserve this moment to walk across the stage and enter into life." "My parents deserve this," DeAndre adds. "Like they're the ones who, they got me through anything. And they just taught me everything. They deserve to see me walk across the stage and graduate." Off the back of this impassioned statement, DeGeneres then asks the senior about his future plans. DeAndre confirms that he wants to go to university, as he plans to pursue his dream of becoming a veterinarian. He also reveals his love of animals, admitting that their companionship and loyalty means a lot to him. Clearly impressed with his commitment, DeGeneres goes on to make a plea to the school. Staring directly into the camera, DeGeneres says, "I am begging you, this kid is a good kid. He deserves to graduate, to walk with all the other kids. He's a good guy. I am just urging you to do the right thing. Please, change your mind." And it's after this that DeAndre receives a real shock. Following the generous outpouring of support, she mentions one of her other guests to come out. The person in question is music superstar Alicia Keys, and she's carrying a large board in her hands. She walks over to DeAndre before offering her own kind words to the starstruck school student. Keys then turns the large board around, revealing that it's actually a check for $20,000. This money is to help go towards DeAndre's college education, which leaves him absolutely floored. After this, the memorable segment eventually comes to a close, with DeGeneres again reiterating her plea to the camera. The segment was subsequently posted on The Ellen Show's official YouTube channel on January 29, 2020. Since then, it's earned in excess of 2.7 million views online, alongside over 107,000 likes from users. Meanwhile, the internet support for DeAndre didn't end there, as we're about to find out. Indeed, a petition was launched on the Change.org website titled "Let DeAndre Arnold March with His Class." The goal of 2,500 signatures is very close to being reached, as over 1,800 people have put their names on it as of the beginning of March 2020. Furthermore, the page itself had racked up more than 4,500 views. However, there was one more surprising twist in store for DeAndre and his family. As the standoff with the school continued, the teenager received an invitation to the 2020 Academy Awards. He was invited by the director of the animated short film Hair Love, which deals with the subject of African American hair. After accepting the invite from director Matthew Cherry, DeAndre attended the star-studded event with his mom Sandy. As the student walked the red carpet, he and Cherry were snapped sporting their respective dreadlocks, ahead of the movie's victory later that night. However, before the ceremony, the student took part in an interview with the Refinery 29 website. DeAndre said, "I'm so grateful. I never expected any of this. The message of that movie and my message go together so well. I think it's really amazing how they reached out to me and how we can fight this together. As teenagers, we have a voice and we're the future. I want more cultural acceptance."